This is Akashvani. In the program Insight, now we bring you a discussion on progress of Indian universities in global ranking. The participants are M. Jagadish Kumar, Chairperson of University Grants Commission, and Ramya, Anchor.
The QS World University Rankings is a portfolio of comparative college and university rankings which encourages people and informs them about university performance. The recently released QS World University Rankings featured many Indian universities, with IIT Mumbai topping it with a rank of 118, followed by IIT Delhi at 150. To enlighten us more about this and to provide more insights about the performances of Indian universities and the education system, we have with us Mr. M. Jagadish Kumar, Chairman of University Grants Commission. Welcome to Akashvani, sir.
Namaskar.
Firstly, sir, as I mentioned earlier, Indian universities have seen a rise of 61% this year in their rankings in the QS Global Rankings. Being a professor yourself at IIT Delhi, what changes do you think contributed to Indian universities getting a better recognition worldwide?
It is an absolute pleasure to see India's universities and higher educational institutions doing so well in the World University Rankings.
Yes.
This time, not only 61% of Indian educational institutions have climbed up the ladder in the ranks, 24% of them have also maintained their rank. And for the first time this year, we have two institutions which have ranks 150 or below.
Yes.
Indian Institute of Technology Bombay and Indian Institute of Technology Delhi. It clearly shows our educational institutions' commitment to achieving excellence in education, research and innovation. If you recall, we launched the National Education Policy in 2020. I firmly believe that the implementation of various reforms emanating from NEP 2020 have clearly helped the institutions in climbing up the ranks in the World University Rankings, because they have primarily focused on improving their research ecosystem and achieving excellence in providing the quality education to our students, and also in increasing international collaboration with scientists and educationists from across the globe. So several of these factors have actually contributed in seeing our Indian institutions come in the top ranks in the World University Rankings.
And one thing which is very important to ask is, what tools do you think are used for measuring such rankings for universities worldwide? How significant are these rankings in general for India in a global standing, and how reliable do you think are these?
One of the important components in these world rankings is perception. Nearly percentage of weightage is given for perception by peers, and another 10% weightage is given for perception by the recruiters. And of course, you have weightage given to the research contributions, citations, and the presence of international faculty, the presence of international students. The fact that we are now finding ourselves among the top rated institutions across the world clearly means that the perception, the positive feeling about our institutions is actually increasing. That is one. And two, our research quality also has gone up. If you look at the citations per faculty of the papers coming out of India, it is much above the global average. So when the research is visible, obviously it will also positively impact the perception in the eyes of the peers and the recruiters.
True.
I think all these parameters, all these factors have helped our Indian institutions to appear among the top rated institutions in the world.
True, sir. While we were talking about international collaborations, in this very QS ranking, Anna University scored a perfect score of 100, closely followed by Indian Institute of Science at 99.9 and IIT Guwahati at 97.6. But when it comes to international faculty, India's score is 16.2, while the global average is 28.1. What do you think could be a reason for it, and what measures can India take to increase its international faculty and also encourage students from other countries to study here?
Right. There are two things that I need to answer to your question. One, the citations per faculty. Anna University has come on top of all other institutions in India. It's a perfect 100 score in citations per faculty, and next to it is Indian Institute of Science. This also indicates that our state universities have the potential to do extremely well. Anna University is clearly one such example. And we also find that if you look at the top 10 institutions and the top 20 institutions, you see that there are deemed to be universities, there are private universities which are also appearing in the top 20 universities. So this clearly indicates that institutions, irrespective of which category they are, whether they are state funded, private, deemed to be universities, they have the potential to do well. So this is where I would like to put up the suggestion to our universities that they need to further improve their collaboration with the international collaborators. They need to further improve their collaborations with our own Indian industries in India. So if they continue to do that, I'm sure the research excellence, the research ecosystem in our institutions will further improve, and many more institutions can really appear in the top bracketed world rankings. Now, coming to the internationalization component, while we do have research collaborations with international institutions, now with the new regulations of UGC, where twinning joint dual degree programs can be offered in collaboration with the international universities. So the international university collaboration is definitely increasing. But we also need inflow of international students into India. So now we have Study India program, and UGC also is taking up several measures to encourage our universities to go around the countries. Just as the foreign universities come to our country and then they conduct roadshows, they conduct workshops to increase awareness, more and more of our top-class universities should go particularly to the global south countries and showcase our education and its standards to improve the incoming student intake from the international institutions and foreign countries. And I'm sure with the efforts that are being put by both the Ministry of Education and the UGC, we will see more inflow of foreign students into our country. And when that happens, it will help our university rankings even further.
One thing is there that India has a lot of population. That's an understatement. In addition to that, if we add more students to our universities, then what are the challenges that the universities will face when it comes to providing teachers for the number of students? A single teacher will, with the addition of international students, report to more students. So how will the university face these kind of challenges if international students, for example, come to India and start studying?
Our Indian universities are also well known for their affirmative action about providing better facilities, creating more classroom infrastructure, lab facilities. Remember that when the foreign students come into our country, even if you charge very modest tuition fee, that can bring a lot of revenue based on tuition fee collection from the foreign students into our Indian educational institutions. So they can actually generate more revenue using the inflow of foreign students and create better infrastructure. So it will bring more students into our institutions. So it will act like a positive feedback. One feeds the other, and some of this revenue can also be used to provide better facilities for our own Indian students. So therefore, it is highly beneficial for our universities to proactively work and bring more foreign students into our institutions.
Very true, sir. While we do want international students to come and study in India, because India is a land full of knowledge, we also want to encourage our own students to prefer that they study in India for their higher education. So, do you think such rankings encourage Indian students to actually pursue education in India itself? Anything higher, for example, PhD or anything?
Absolutely. But you see, the rankings are an outcome of how our institutions are becoming centers of excellence for high quality education and innovative research. So the quality of education improves, and when there is an innovative research ecosystem in our institutions, the high rankings that they see is an outcome of this. So students therefore will surely prefer our Indian institutions. Why not study here in our own country,
True.
if they can provide the same quality of research environment that they can get, they go abroad. So I agree with you that in the coming years, as more and more institutions get into the global rankings, which is an indication that the research ecosystem is improving, the quality of education is improving, many more students, our own Indian students, will love to study in our own Indian institution.
One more thing that I wanted your thoughts on is that when it comes to urban India, the literacy rate is 84.11%, while rural Indians have a literacy rate of just 67.77%. And 68% of India's youth resides in villages. So what can be done to encourage students from village areas or the rural India to complete their education, and what are the policies which are made to benefit them? Not just rural Indians, but also people who are physically challenged. How many policies have been made to encourage them to complete their education? Because the more India has an educated workforce, the more beneficial it will be for us.
Correct. But the literacy percentages that you have given for
Yes.
the rural India and urban India for all age groups. But if you focus only on the school-going student age groups or the college-going student age group, the literacy rates are much, much higher, right? Even if you take the average of those students who are not going to the school or college and those who are going to school and college, if you average out, the literacy rates are very high. And also I would like to tell your viewers that there is enormous talent in the rural areas. If you look at the startup companies in our country today, we have more than 1,25,000 startup companies in our country. But majority of them are coming from tier 2, tier 3 small towns. And this is where our rural youth are establishing their startup companies. So this is a clear indication that there is enormous talent and our rural youth are highly aspirational. So there are two things that we are doing.
Yes.
One, since many of the rural youth, they come from socio-economically weaker sections, and also majority of our colleges and universities, nearly 60% of our colleges, 45% of our universities are located in the rural areas where they may not have very high quality infrastructure. They may not have teachers who can teach courses in emerging areas. So in order to reach out to those students, now we are promoting online education on a large scale. Today we have more than 80 universities which are offering high quality online programs, and we also have this Swayam portal where we have more than 3,000 courses available to which our students can register, pass the examinations and earn the credits which can be integrated as part of their regular degree programs. So there are several measures that we are taking up at UGC and the Ministry of Education level to reach out to the youth in the rural areas, and particularly those who come from the socially and economically weaker sections. So this is one. And the other one, when these students come to the universities and colleges, especially those who are Divyangs, who are physically challenged, we are working the universities, and we have also brought out the guidelines for all the universities to make these institutions more accessible. The buildings have to be accessible. The other facilities within the campuses have to be accessible to the young students. And also, they need to be provided with facilities, computers using which they can access digital content. So there are already many universities which are doing, universities such as JNU, where I was there earlier as Vice Chancellor, and many others are doing. But however, my request to the universities is that we need to scale up these efforts. We cannot be complacent by providing certain minimum facilities. We need to talk to these students and find out what are the challenges that they are facing, and then ramp up the facilities that we are providing to the students in the institutions.
Thank you so much for your valuable inputs and for enlightening our listeners. We hope that India will keep rising up in global rankings to eventually become number one. Thank you so much for joining us, Jagdish sir.
My pleasure, and namaste.
Namaste.
You were listening to a discussion on progress of Indian universities in global ranking. The participants were M. Jagadish Kumar, Chairperson of University Grants Commission, and Ramya, Anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.